Hi everybody, Pen here with Yogacises. Really excited to have Caitlyn Picerno today. She is an animal communicator and an intuitive coach, an intuitive healing coach. So this is exciting. I haven't had an animal communicator on the show yet. I've had intuitive healers before, so it's going to be a little different. I'm really excited to see how she works with her clients and with animals and people. So that's really exciting. Thank you for being on.
Perfect, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Well, could you please just share with us where you're from and how you got started with this, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am based out of Denver, Colorado. So I'm an intuitive healing coach and animal communicator. So basically what I do is that I help bridge my background in mental health counseling with spiritual practices to help people kind of return to self-love, reclaim their inner power, and then manifest a dream or a life that they want to create, and kind of do that as well with combining their animals and a happy life with them together. So how I got started, man, it's been a while. So when I started volunteering kind of in the field of human services, or when I was 13, and I worked with all different populations, and I worked with people that were in domestic violence. I worked with victims of sex abuse. I worked in involuntary psych. I worked with men on death row. I've worked with animal shelters. I've worked with kids with disabilities. So kind of all these different populations, and obviously knew I had a passion for helping people. And then, through my own journey, kind of hit rock bottom. And I, before I went to college, and was in a really abusive relationship and really didn't know where to go. And I found a spiritual coach through my mom, actually. And I totally did not believe in it. I did not believe in anything spiritual at that point. So I was like, whatever, Mom, I'll try it. And I fell in love. I was just blown away. And then I, again, went into my traditional background through college in mental health counseling, and really felt like something was missing. So I combined kind of through studying under different practitioners and mentors spiritually, and through Reiki and learning different modalities, I decided that kind of using the mental health approach and the spiritual practices together was really, really powerful and transformational. And then I incorporated animals because I truly believe that they are so powerful and teach us so many incredible things in our lives. So that's kind of where I started.
Thank you for sharing your story with us. And
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you have a lot of different experiences, over the years. So which, out of all those practices that you've, experienced, which one was your favorite?
I think I would say kind of really working on, I love to balance kind of the conscious mind with the subconscious mind and the energetic approach, because we function at all three levels. So I really like to do kind of exercises that help us rewire, kind of get the conscious mind out of the way, help us see what's going on in the subconscious, and then also that affects the energetic approach. So I really like things such as like box breathing or different intuition exercises. I also use a lot of crystals and Reiki. So I honestly can't say which one is my favorite, but I think I don't ever like to just work with one, because I think that everyone is so unique and the modalities are so unique with how kind of what works best for us. So I use a multitude of different ones it's kind of specific to each person.
Mm-hmm. So that means you do more do you do more group work or more individual work?
So I do both. I've had kind of different groups, but I do a lot of individual coaching. So I get on the phone with a lot of my clients, or through video chat, because I do a lot of it remotely, and I kind of tap into their energy and kind of feel what I can feel, what's going on. We'll talk, we'll kind of it's a mix between kind of a traditional talk therapy and kind of using, like, again, those energetic approaches. So working on what we can feel energetically, paying attention to our intuition, looking at what's going on within the chakras. And a lot of people, they're like, oh, how can you like feel energy, or how can you, that I don't really know if that's real. And I always tell people, kind of look at when you first meet someone, you have an initial feeling about them before you even, before they even say anything. And that's energy. You're feeling that. It's your intuition talking to you. So that's kind of what I do. I feel into people's energy a little bit deeper than that first impression, and really see what's going on energetically within them. And then we kind of do kind of this personal development coaching with those spiritual approaches. And then also, if they have animals, I tie that in as well, because like I said, animals take on a lot of our energy. And so they're always teaching us a lot of different things. So their behavior mocks a lot of what's going on within us.
Mm-hmm. All right. So my question, I have a few questions. So one of them is, working with your clients, what are some of the common things that you work with?
Yeah. So I work with a lot of people that are in big transitions in their life. I work with a lot of people who have felt like they've been an outcast in some way, whether it's sexual orientation, gender, or, they're making big transitions in job, career, relationships. So I don't necessarily just work with one type of person dealing with one thing. It's kind of, I work with people that are needing something more in their life, and they're seeing kind of that the traditional approach has not been exactly what they need, or they're having a lot of trouble with kind of their mind racing or ruminating thoughts. And so I work with them kind of on restructuring and creating this life that they want. I work a lot with a lot of people. I'd say the biggest theme is kind of having self-esteem, lower self-esteem issues, or not necessarily knowing how to practice self-love. And that's really where we kind of go in that basis. And that's why I say I don't work with one person necessarily going through one thing, because self-love and self-worth, it stems in all different types of people across all different walks of life, which is really what I did learn a lot of working with so many different populations that I did. So I say that would be my audience.
Okay, awesome. Love that. How long would it take, like, approximately how long the program is, the session with those people?
So it ranges for everybody, because it's all kind of different with how with how rapidly you're changing, with what you're kind of taking and implementing in your life. It's all specific to their energy. However, a normal session is 1 hour, and I've worked with people. I mean, I've done one session where they feel like they're got a lot out of it and they're good to go, and then we don't talk for 6 months. Or I work with other people weekly and have been for years for a couple of them. So it kind of depends on what they need and where they're at. But I really like to make it specific to, again, that person and their journey, because everyone is so different. So, some people need a little bit more support, and some people need kind of just like an energetic retune up, and they're good to go. So it just kind of depends.
That's awesome. I really like that you work with, of course, based on what their needs are, and go from there. That's great.
Absolutely.
So how do you prepare yourself to do this practice?
So, it's really, I always call in kind of my higher powers. I say that everything that I'm getting in a session is kind of being channeled from their highest good. So I try not to put, like my opinions or different things into a session, because that's not what they're coming for. So I always kind of set my intention for the call to serve their highest good, to get what they need out of it. I call in kind of their higher power to be able to channel and speak through me. And that I also set up my own energetic boundaries to kind of make sure that I'm not necessarily taking on their energy. I'm just kind of visiting and being able to feel that, because if I'm taking on people's energy, then I'm not able to truly serve. You can't serve what you don't have. So I have kind of a little spiel that I run through, and then I always grab a couple different crystals to help me out that I feel called to for what that person may need. And then I always begin the session by taking deep breaths together and really grounding our energy, so that we're kind of in the same energetic space. And then we start the session. So.
That's awesome. That is great. It doesn't so for somebody who doesn't do this type of work, it's still good to have that breathing and be centered and grounded.
Absolutely. Yeah. It just helps out because, like we can feel kind of what's going on. So it's not necessarily like if you're, not into this work or you haven't done it before, that we won't have a session that's powerful or able to be worked through or kind of tap into your energy. But it's always kind of good because when you breathe, you're actually kind of like that 3 deep breaths, you're really calming your body down, you're calming your nervous system down. So you're kind of letting some of those nerves and some of that fear go out of your energetic space so that we can kind of focus on what's happening on a deeper level.
All right. And also when two people breathing together synergistically, then you can more work on that same level.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So how do you get the animals involved with this with a client?
Yeah. So I work with people that don't have animals, and then I work with people that do. I don't ever just work with animals because like I said, animals and people share a lot of their energy. So a lot of times what's going on with an animal, if they're having a health issue or they're having an odd behavior, it's resonating with what they're trying to communicate to their owner of like what's going on within them. So if people have animals, then we'll kind of do either if we're doing an animal communication session or we're doing a healing session, it doesn't really matter either way because we're going to be communicating with both, and we're going to be kind of doing energetic scans of both of them to see what's going on. And then often if I'm not necessarily like talking to the animal or like communicating what's going on with them, then I'll have the animal kind of pop in and say, like communicate something to me that they want their owner to know. So this is really great because a lot of times we don't set up energetic boundaries with our pets, and we just continue to let them take on our energy, and they're really here to serve us and to, be used as a tool to help us in our journey and our personal growth. So, it can really affect them, and it can cause a lot of different health issues or odd behaviors and a lot of kind of, bridges and like boundaries when we don't communicate, we don't pay attention or don't know how to figure out what they are saying to us. So the reason I bring pets into it is because, again, like they're such an amazing tool. They're so helpful in what they do communicate to us, and they're really transparent in what they do. But we have to be paying attention. So I love to kind of help them and the human, because then I love animals. So, I want everybody to kind of have this harmony in their living situation. And that's a huge part of it.
That is important. It's because so many people that, almost everybody has pets nowadays at home. And
yeah.
Even in like nursing homes and hospitals, they have like, pet therapy, like they bring the dogs and the animals into the hospital, and studies have shown that it's improved with their health and everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of different studies about it, but there was one study that I always really paid attention to is if you're petting an animal for 10 seconds, it'll actually release serotonin in your mind and your body. So you'll actually feel better. And that's why a lot of times they do use animal therapy, and it's so incredibly powerful. That's why it's also starting to be used in like prisons. Men will train dogs, and in different drug rehabilitation centers. It's because they serve this purpose of a lot, again, the feeling of giving us kind of this feeling of love or supportive approach that we may not have felt that we had, but they also kind of on this deeper level are actually physically affecting our body that we're not normally aware of.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking, what happens, I don't know if this happened to you before, but let's just say like an animal that you work with just doesn't want to work with you, that there's just the energy is not basically just not working out. So what happened in that case? What would you do?
Yeah, so I haven't actually had that happen. I do always ask permission with the animal. Is it okay if I communicate with you? And like, be that bridge in the communication gap between you and your owner. And, like I said, I've never had any of them say no. However, if they did, I would respect that boundary because, like I said, every single person is different. We don't all get along with every single person. The same thing with the animals. The animals are unique as well. They have unique personalities. So if they're not ready or don't want to communicate with me, I'd probably recommend them to another animal communicator and see if that would be a good idea for them, because I would love for them to be able to communicate and still have that bridge. But if it's not going to be with me, then I would love to have them do it with someone else so that they can continue in their journey and their personal growth as well.
Interesting. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense because just like humans. Yes.
Yep. Absolutely.
Awesome. This is so cool. So what's your like your routine like? Do you have like a morning routine that you do every day? Like what the time
Yeah.
you get up and stuff like that?
I do. So I really like, again, to kind of tackle the conscious and subconscious and energetic mind. So the things that I do are specific to kind of working those, getting them kind of on the same page. So I wake up and I start with, making coffee. I'm a huge coffee person. So it kind of is something for me that really starts to ground me and kind of that warmth. And then I do 10 minutes of stretching, 10 to 15 minutes of stretching to kind of wake up my physical body, really start to kind of just bring you into the day, that nice transition. And then I'll do like something like meditation or EFT tapping. That'll kind of wake me up subconsciously. And then I journal to get kind of the conscious mind awake as well. And I'll do different journal prompts. And then I normally try to do something physically active, whether it's walking or actually doing a workout, depending on kind of how I'm feeling that day. Again, to kind of get you excited for the day, get that physical release of endorphins. And then I've kind of tackled all the different levels that we work on. And then I jump into kind of, what I'm doing that day, my work schedule, client calls, all that different stuff. So that would be kind of my morning routine. And I also, after, like I've worked out and then, getting ready for the day, like showering and all that stuff, I pick a scent, like an essential oil scent, or something else to kind of, again, stimulate me. I love using essential oils with the body too. So I like to pick like a crystal and essential oil for the day.
That's awesome. I like that. Yeah. So I want to ask about the journaling part. Like, what kind of prompts do you use, and how long do you journal? How many pages do you write? Like, how just
Yeah. So I don't necessarily ever do like a page limit. I normally set a timer, and it kind of depends. It's no less than 5 minutes, but it's no more than 15 minutes. Again, it's just kind of something to get me thinking, to get me setting my day. If I don't necessarily have a specific prompt that I'm doing, I'll start with gratitudes and then just continue to like let my hand go. I use prompts, I'll look up like different prompts online or different, there's a ton of people that do different free prompts that you can do for your mindset. I also, like I said, my traditional background is in mental health counseling. So I've used some different traditional therapy topics to do. It doesn't really matter as far as that. I just do it to kind of get me thinking and get me in that space of like what I'm kind of setting for my intention for that day. So I'll do the prompt or look at the prompt and get me kind of moving. And then I just let it go from there. Because it's never necessarily specifically about something that I like journaling my day. I want my whole routine to kind of be in a flow. So it's all about my energetic flow and what feels good to me. But I do set those timers because, you can't have your whole entire day being that stuff. So I want to make sure that I'm being respectful of my own time and it being that beautiful routine, but still staying in that flow. So, yeah.
Great. Thanks for sharing with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how do you, with your clients, like what type of steps do you tell them to do? Like, is it similar to what you do too? Like to start your day, do you tell them to do similar things?
I sometimes do, but I think with people, I always want it to, again, be unique to them and feel really good to them. So normally I'll kind of ask them, like, if they don't have a morning routine yet, when you get out of bed, what are you feeling? Like, what seems like you want to do? What doesn't it seem like you want to do? And then kind of find something in between there. But yeah, something that really helps you wake up, but that feels graceful though. You're not like forcing yourself, out of bed and jumping into a super intense workout if that doesn't feel right. That's why I kind of do a couple things before I start working out or before I start waking up my body. Again, just things that are really waking up the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and your energetic and then physical body. Really anything that does that, I think, is really powerful. The other thing I always mention is not looking at your phone when you get up, like not jumping into that social media or emails or anything like that, because when you do, you're immediately letting someone else make your agenda for the day. Somebody else, you're already giving out emotion there. So when you wake up, your whole morning routine, again, is about getting you into that flow, being with yourself, figuring out what you need, and setting your own intention for the day. And that makes a huge difference in your life and kind of how you show up energetically, how you show up in business, and everything, really.
Mm-hmm.
So
awesome.
yeah.
I kind of want to know more about the whole animal thing. Like, how do you,
Yeah.
I mean, you just ask them, and then how would you know, like, the communication part? I'm still not, I'm
Yeah.
trying to
Perfect.
get.
Yeah, sure. So animals communicate in 4 different ways. So it depends on the animal, how they communicate. They can communicate by like hearing them. They can tell you something. Excuse me. They can communicate with visually showing you something. A lot of, I would say majority communicate that I've ran into communicate with having you feel something. So if like they have something going on within their body, they'll have you feel it. And the last one is they'll show you like a metaphor. So if they're like having a hard time getting over something, they might show you a mountain. Like I don't necessarily, I'd say that's probably the least normal one that I've encountered. But yeah, so that's how they communicate. So it's just like people, just kind of like the exact same thing of reading people's energy. I mean, animals have chakras, humans have chakras. Animals have thoughts, humans have thoughts. So it's not necessarily like I'm reading their thoughts. It's really what they're willing to share with me energetically on kind of a higher vibration. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. Got some water. So that's how animals communicate.
Interesting. So you mentioned the chakras. So the humans and the animals, is there any specific difference? And also depending on what animal is it, and any particular animal has that set of chakras or?
Nope. So it's actually the same. They have the same chakras as we do. The placement might look different just because, if they're standing on 4 legs, it looks a little different than if we're standing on 2. But they all have the same. We have the same chakras. Every animal has the same chakras because they're all just kind of how we energetically store different things. They're like our energetic kind of sources. So they store things the same way as we do. They can just, manifest differently in people's bodies. Just like if a person has, pain because they hold, they hold feeling like they're supporting everything in their knees. So they have knee pain, just like, energy has to manifest physically in people's body if they're not letting it out and processing it out. Animals will be the same. It just, like I said, it's unique to everybody how they hold it, but we also store things in our chakras, or our chakras are meaning the same things.
Very interesting. Do you use crystals to work with them too, or just with people?
I do. Nope, I use crystals with all of them, again, because a lot of the crystals are specific to the chakras, or are more helpful to certain chakras. So I will use them with animals as well. They're really powerful with animals as well. And I notice a lot of people, we might block different things. A lot of animals are very open. They're very energetically open. So the frequencies and the power that really goes through when you use crystals is really, really profound with animals.
What are some of your favorite crystals?
Oh man, that's a hard one. With the work I do, I'd say rose quartz is really powerful, obviously, because it's all about self-love. I'd have to say selenite is like a crystal I think everybody should have. Selenite is really powerful because it clears a ton. It's like quartz a lot, but it doesn't actually hold any negative energy. Like it'll clear crystals around it. It won't hold any negative energy. So it's kind of different in the process of like clearing crystals energetically that you have to do with selenite. I love that. And it's like, if you put it above a door, it'll clear your energy as you walk underneath it. Let's see what else. I would say honestly, those are probably the 2 that I use the most. I use amethyst a lot. I'll use citrine. Yeah, I would say the 2 that I would use most in my work are self-love and selenite personally. And then agate, I guess, would be another one. Just any agate. There's so many different types, but that's a really big emotional balance crystal, agate of any sort. So I like blue lace agate personally. It's really pretty, and it's a really powerful crystal. So those would be my favorite. Yeah.
Cool. I'll look them up. The thing is, I'm not good with names, but if I see them, they'll be like, oh yeah, duh, those are the ones.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, it's like there's so many, it's hard to keep track of them anyways.
Yeah. Right. What about essential oils? What are some of the ones that you use with animals and with people and for yourself?
Yeah, so essential oils with animals, I don't, because animals can actually have extremely negative reactions. So dogs and horses essential oils can be used with them. However, cats cannot process essential oils. So you have to be extremely careful with animals and essential oils. However, I would say that, and I don't love to use a whole lot of essential oils topically, just because you do need to be kind of diluting them if you're using them. But I would say I like to, again, it depends if there's animals in the house, if you're diffusing it. But if there's not animals in the house, it's safer to use essential oils. And I like yingling and lemon, probably the best. And then lavender is great for if you're trying to sleep at night. But I noticed that lemon really helps me like wake up and feel refreshed, and ylang. So ylang, yeah.
Okay, awesome. I like a lemon essential oil too. I put a couple in my water sometimes.
Yeah, that's a good one too to put in your water. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So, what's one specific like lesson or something that you've learned from somebody that is really like profound, like really impacted you, that you would like to share with us?
So I like to read a lot, and I think that that's really a powerful way to kind of get more ideas. I think, one of the biggest impactful ideas, I'm going to share two, because I think that they both kind of go together, if that's all right. But so the first one is that you don't know anything. And I think that's a really hard concept for us to grasp, because we like to feel like we know something. But if you feel like you know it all, or know something so much about one thing, you're not actually open to learning anything new about that topic. So, I feel like there's things that I have learned that I feel like are correct and I feel like are right. So you feel like you know something, but there's always room for growth. So I don't ever put anything as concrete that I know something, because it's always room for change and learning new things. And I think with that goes that there's only so much energy that you have to give. Yes, you have a lot of energy, but if you have so many things on your to-do list, or you have so many things that you're thinking about, your job, career, family, everything, then you're so spread out that you're choosing to give energy to everything else. And then the things that actually matter, you're not giving your energy to. So I like to look at, if you're really stressed about something, is it going to matter in 5 years? And if not, is it worth giving my energy to? So paying attention to that, and then kind of that concept of, do I know, you don't know anything, is where do I put my energy? I put my energy into learning a lot of new things, because then I'm always growing. I'm always continuing in my personal development journey. And I think that's the most impactful lessons that we can look at is, always being a student, always being someone that's open to learning, because nobody knows everything. So.
Right. So speaking of books, what are some of the books you recommend?
Oh my gosh. I'm reading one right now that actually those two concepts that really were powerful. He talks a bit about them. It's The Subtle Art of Not Giving, an FUCK, and it's Mark Manson. And that one is really powerful. It just kind of makes you think in a different perspective. I think that one is really powerful. I really like You Are a Badass. That's a really good book. Really powerful, gives you a lot to think about. I really like The Universe Has Your Back by Gabrielle Bernstein, and I'm excited to read her new book, Super Attractor. I'd say that one, I've heard a lot of great things about it. I haven't personally read it myself. Those ones are really good. And I think one other is Blink, because it talks about how quick your life goes, and how again, like that idea of you only have so much energy to give. So give it to the things that are actually important, looking at your values. So I think that's, those would be the books I would probably recommend right now.
Okay, awesome. I actually, one of my favorite books is Universe Has Your Back. I really like that one.
Good. Yeah, it's a good one.
It is.
Yeah.
All right, great. Thank you very much. Those are my questions. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with everybody?
No, I think, if you guys are looking to try to find an animal communicator and intuitive healing coach, I think just trusting kind of where you're drawn to is really a powerful lesson with everything. So if you're drawn to, come contact me. I'd love to talk to you guys. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah,
speaking of contacting you, please tell us how they can find you on social media, email, website.
Yeah, perfect. So my website is Caitlyn-intuitivehealingcoach.com. Or you can find me at Caitlyn Picerno. My last name is Picerno.com. You can also find me on Facebook at Intuitive Healing Coach and Animal Communicator, and Instagram at Caitlyn.intuitivehealingcoach. I hang out on all of those, so if you're trying to get in contact with me, you won't have a hard time.
That's awesome. Hopefully people, reach out to you because
absolutely.
Topic. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Tanya. It was so great to connect.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.